Hey, this is Kyle with Wild Hair Moto, here with a video to talk about Beta brake pedals. I broke the brake pedal off my 2024 Beta 300RR Race Edition, and I found that it's not so clear once you start searching for aftermarket parts or even looking at some of the stock part numbers exactly what's what in the world of Beta brake pedals. So to help some of you all who might be watching this, who might be in the market for an aftermarket pedal, or you're going between years 23, 24, 25 and wondering what's what, hopefully I can clear up any confusion there might be here. So the first thing I did was I went online to look for some of the aftermarket options and things like that. So starting with Sierra Motorcycle Supply, they're a great resource for Beta parts lookups, both aftermarket and OEM. And what you find is that they list first off a RRS, RRS brake pedal, this guy here, as 20 onward. They don't end it at 23 for the race edition or anything. But then they've got a separate listing for the 24 onward race edition brake pedal. So, and that's 90 bucks, and it doesn't come with a tip when you buy it, the OEM Beta part. So you got to buy the tip also for $7.50 and a couple of bolts too. So it's not cheap. It's about 100 bucks. So that's why I was going down the rabbit hole of looking for aftermarket options. So then I went to AS3 Performance. They're a pretty good European aftermarket company, so they're going to have a wider selection than most of the stateside stuff. So I just wanted to get a reference for kind of what's out there. And it looks a lot like some of the aftermarket options we'll see in the US later in the video. And then we see the years that they list here, and it's up to 24 actually for just about everything, but they're not designating RR versus race edition here. So it either doesn't apply to any race editions, or they're just lumping that in under these and not really explicitly saying it. So this didn't give me confidence to really know what I was talking about. So then I went to trusty old Rocky Mountain. Love getting cheap parts in 3 days, and put in my 2024 Beta 300RR, and they do list a Tusk aftermarket brake pedal, and it's unavailable, so no help there. But it was very interesting. They used the same part number as the 2023 Beta 300RR pedal. So really still kind of confusing there. If we go to the Beta parts diagrams and look at, let's start with a 2024 300RR non-race edition, we see that we've got the brake master cylinder with a little oval shaped cap here, and we've got the brake light switch operates off the bolt for the brake hose here. So it's like a pressure switch, and there's no extra separate switch back here. And then we've got this pedal, which is 37360048000 part number. And then we go to the 24 race edition, and we see that we've got a rectangular shaped reservoir here on the brake pedal and a separate brake light switch here, and then no pressure sensor, just a regular banjo bolt on the brake line here. And that's what I was seeing on mine, was that my brake pedal had a little protrusion on it that would hit the little plunger on this brake switch. And we've got a different part number here, a 3736108059. Let's remember all that. But I wasn't sure if maybe this is just a different color. I know the RRs come with a silver pedal and these come with a black pedal. So it's just still kind of confusing, not really sure what to make of any of it. And then to make it even more confusing, just to bring things forward, this wasn't really relevant to me, but once I got curious and started making this video, I was like, well, what about the X-Pros? The X-Pros, if we look, they come with a rectangular lid on the rear master cylinder, just like the 24 race edition, and they've got the separate switch. So everything looks the same as the race edition here from 24, except it's a different part number yet again. So we had the 3736108059 on the 24 race edition, and then we're just at 00 with the 25 X Pro. And I know this is a silver pedal, because they show us that in the picture, the stock photo on the 300 X Pro 2025. So maybe that was just the color. But then I went to look at the specific photos, and it just got even more confusing. Where's our good photo to look at here? Let's look at this guy. We can see they don't have the rear brake light switch here visible, and there's no apparent nub there. Maybe this was a photo taken before they had all their new parts in for these, because it seemed really weird. Why did the parts diagram show the separate switch and then it doesn't show in the stock photo. That was really weird. So I dug into YouTube a little bit and found this video by 3C's Recreation. They seem to be a great beta dealer. They do a lot of great beta content, so give their channel a check out. And they were doing a walk around on a brand new, I think this is a 200RR race edition, but you know, components like this are all the same on these bikes. And yeah, sure enough, comes to production, at least in the US, they do have the separate switch there. And we can see this protrusion sticking off the brake pedal to fire that little plunger. So I can't explain the stock photo, but the things we see in the parts diagram are reflected in the reality of these X-Pro bikes. And so we're looking at, you know, 24 onward race editions and 25 onward X-Pros have a different brake pedal with this little protrusion here to fire off the separated brake light switch.
This is the rear brake pedal off of my 2024 Beta 300RR Race Edition. And as you can see, it got pretty banged up during a race. It actually got bent all the way back here and then bent around this way, and then the tip fell off. And I ended up bending it back and adding a little tip here, little temporary tip, just in case my new replacement lever didn't get here in time. Now, one that I could find available was through motosport.com, and that was the Hammerhead Designs brake pedal. It wasn't actually available on their website. I had to buy it on eBay, but it was listed by Motorsport. So I think it was the last one they had in stock. So sorry about that. You can't get another one just like this for the price I got, but you can get them. And it's the 120802. I believe the 21 and the 10 reference like the color of the tip and the shape of the tip, but a 120802 is the general fitment. So the first thing I was worried about was how do these holes line up? And if we put these two lines parallel, it looks like they've got the same proportions. So when this pedal's sitting at the same angle this one was sitting, it looks like it'll be pushing the plunger to an equal height. You can see how much lever I lost there, quite a bit. Next, let's look at this alignment. I think we're good. Basically, the inside of this is supposed to be about flush with the outside of that on both of these, and it appears to be. So I think we're good there. We're just missing the nub. And then finally, let's compare the diameters. These should really be the same. ID there, and roughly the same there. Yep. And what do we have here? A Harbor Freight 9mm there. And good enough for government work there. Beautiful. So, the Hammerhead 120802 is not a direct, perfect fit, exact replacement for the stock beta lever on the 24 onward race edition, but it's only because it's missing the little protrusion here that activates the rear brake light sensor. And on my bike, I've actually removed the rear brake light already, the rear tail light, and I've removed the headlight. So lights aren't an issue for me. So I'm gonna run this pedal. If I ever feel inclined to put the lights back on, by then maybe I'll have found a good deal on one of these, or I'll find an aftermarket solution that includes the protrusion, or I might just drill a hole in there and put some kind of a custom protrusion there myself to help activate that brake light. But for now, I'm just gonna mount this and run it. All right, and here's the final product of the Hammerhead brake lever on the 2024 Beta 300RR. As we can see, it mounts up fine. It doesn't have the protrusion to activate this brake light switch, but other than that, it's a good fit. So the earlier years brake pedals and the general, 22, 23, etc. aftermarket beta brake pedals will fit the 24 onward race editions. They just won't activate the rear brake light without some modification.
Rip Moto Rip. Good bike.